Alright, good evening ladies and gents, welcome back to Compound Interesting. In today's video I want to discuss why I believe Solana could hit like $1,000 within the next 2 years in the next crypto bull cycle, and why I'm strongly considering over the next course of the year selling a portion of my Tesla stock to buy more Solana. I'm also going to give a full breakdown of my price targets, a range of different possibilities for Solana at the all-time high peak in the next bull cycle, so make sure you stick all the way through. So firstly, if you actually ever went ahead and used Solana, so if you ever gone and bought an NFT using your Phantom wallet on an NFT marketplace, you'll see how fast it is. You see how fast it is to stake your Solana. To do anything on Solana is just so fast and so cheap. So the user experience on Solana is just so much nicer than Ethereum. And I know like Ethereum is going to scale using layer 2s, so I have used layer 2s like Arbitrum, and just like Solana, they are very fast and very cheap. But even though the likes of Arbitrum are layer 2s, every transaction is still a lot more expensive than using Solana. Like Solana, every transaction is like a fraction of a penny, whereas using Arbitrum can still be like 30 cent or something. Now obviously 30 cent isn't a huge amount of money, but imagine you're playing a game and every little transaction you want to do within the game is going to cost you 30 cent just to use the network. Still, that's not going to scale really for billions of transactions, for like all these mini transactions. But with Solana, like say you go into a shop in a game, you want to go buy something, imagine you had to like wait 5 minutes for that transaction to go through. No, with Solana it's going to be instant and it's going to be effectively free. So like the speeds that Solana already has are like comparable to Web 2 speeds. It's just pretty much instant and pretty much free, or so it seems when you actually use Solana. So the main idea, the main investment thesis behind Solana is that there's room for more than one layer 1 blockchain in the crypto space for different tasks. So Ethereum has its niche and Solana is also going to have its own niche. And currently the market cap of Solana is 5% the market cap of Ethereum. And it's becoming pretty much obvious, it's becoming extremely clear that Solana is going to be the alternative layer 1, the faster and cheaper version of Ethereum. No other layer 1 is anywhere near Solana. And it's in the bear market that the strong coins, the fundamentally strong coins, tend to perform well. And now Solana has had its crazy nuke down to $8. Now it's been flushed out of the system. The reason that Solana went from $250 all the way down to $8, like a 95% correction, a lot of that was because of its association with FTX. And the association is just that Sam, the founder of FTX, liked the coin and owned some of it, but like he had nothing to do with behind the scenes. He had no other ties to it other than he thought it was a good coin, which, you know, is a bit of an irrational reason to send the coin to zero just because of that association. Now here's the chart of Solana versus Bitcoin, and you can see the all-time high in 2021 and how far it's fallen against Bitcoin in that time. And you can see this trend line has just broken. Now, do I believe this means that Solana is going to massively outperform Bitcoin straight away? No, I think this is the start. This kind of shows, okay, we're out of the phase of going down versus Bitcoin. It's probably going to go somewhat sideways, up and down sideways, if you know what I mean, for the next year or so, which is the time to be stacking Solana. And eventually it's going to break out again to the upside and potentially break these all-time highs once more. It's up, in my opinion, and a lot of Gigabrain's opinions, that Solana in 2024/2025 is going to be the same performance-wise as Ethereum in 2019/2020. Now I want to talk about the new upgrade, or it hasn't happened yet, but Fire Dancer for Solana and the speed improvements. Yes, even more speed improvements for Solana. So you might be thinking to yourself, okay, but there's been so many alt layer 1s, and the reason that they're faster and cheaper is because no one is using them. Oh, there's always been these alt layer 1s, these EVM clones, as in Ethereum clones, and the only reason that they're faster and cheaper than Ethereum is because no one is really using them. And once a lot of people start actually using these alternative layer 1s, the fees are just going to blow up and they're going to get clogged. Well, this isn't exactly the case with Solana. Solana uses a different architecture which allows it to scale a lot without incurring massive increases in fees whatsoever. So it's completely different to Ethereum in that case. So there's different trade-offs with decentralization. So some people think Solana is not very decentralized in comparison to Ethereum, which is true. However, it's still much more decentralized than a lot of other alt layer ones. So because of this different architecture, it does allow it to be hyper scalable, but also keep it quite decentralized. But obviously Solana is never going to reach the same sort of decentralization that Ethereum has. However, for playing a game or for certain tasks, you won't need the same kind of decentralization and neutrality as you have with Ethereum. That's for, like, you know, decentralized finance with massive amounts of money, whereas Solana is going to be the more consumer blockchain for retail people playing games and putting a little bit of money into DeFi and all sorts of more consumer friendly types of applications. So I mentioned Firedancer, the improvement that Solana is going to have. So let's have a look at this table from Masari. Alright, so starting at the top of this chart, we can see Ethereum currently has 24 transactions per second. Then as we go down, we can see Ethereum using rollups, whether they're ZK rollups or optimistic. It's about anywhere from 2,000 to 5,000 transactions per second. Now, the current Solana throughput is 3,500 transactions per second, but with Firedancer, the addition of Firedancer, the transactions go anywhere from 600,000 to 1.2 million transactions per second, and like actually available for transactions like about 100,000 transactions per second. So this is even higher than a lot of Web 2 applications like Twitter, Visa and Nasdaq in terms of transactions per second. So it's crazy fast, and this opens up a huge range of possibilities, like blue ocean possibilities that people haven't even thought about yet, if this is even better than Web 2 transaction speeds. Alright, so before we get into the fun part, the price predictions and price targets for Solana, first we should say, what are the downsides of having such low transaction costs? So one of the reasons, potential reasons, one of the reasons that Ethereum pumped so much in 2020 and 2019 is because people actually needed Ethereum to use Ethereum, in the fact that if you wanted to make a transaction on Ethereum, you had to pay like $5, let's say $5 of Ethereum to actually use the Ethereum network. And so many people were using Ethereum that actually took a lot of Ethereum out of the supply. So for example, if I wanted to go and use a DeFi application during DeFi summer, I had to sell a bit of my Ethereum to the Ethereum network, to miners, to actually go ahead and be able to use the Ethereum network to use the DeFi application that I wanted. Same thing happened with NFTs. Now, once you couple that with EIP 5519 or whatever it is, where it's actually burning some Ethereum, some of the Ethereum supply is actually burned with every transaction, obviously we can see that the supply is getting reduced and the actual demand for the Ethereum token to pay gas fees is quite considerable. However, with Solana, to actually use the Solana network, you're only going to need tiny fractions of amounts of Solana to use the Solana network. So the incentive to have a lot of Solana or to buy a lot of Solana is lower potentially than buying Ethereum. Because if you only need 1 cent per transaction or a fraction of a cent per transaction, you can probably do thousands and thousands of transactions by only buying a couple of Solana. So there's less of a huge incentive to have as many Solana coins. So let's just keep that in the back of our minds. And a lot of this potential price targets is going to come from speculation and people just using the Solana network, thinking it's good and buying the token simply because of that reason. Not so much to actually because they'll need it to use the Solana network. So here are a range of price targets for Bitcoin, Ethereum and Solana. So I've used the potential Bitcoin price in the next peak of the next cycle to come up with the Ethereum price, and use the Ethereum price to come up with the Solana price. So first, top left corner, we have the Bitcoin price right now, and we have the Bitcoin market cap right now. So the price there is $30,000 and the market cap $590 billion. So hopefully you can understand this chart here. Next to it, we have Ethereum with $2,000, market cap $233 billion, and then finally Solana, $28, market cap $11 billion. Then on the far right there, it should say Sol divided by ETH, but the Solana market cap divided by the Ethereum market cap is currently 5%. So hopefully that all makes sense to you. So in the conservative scenario where Bitcoin reaches $100,000, now you can use your own numbers in the back of your mind where you think Bitcoin is going to go in the peak of the next bull cycle. But I think a conservative price target is $100,000 and the absolute peak. And if that happens, I think a conservative price target for Ethereum would be $8,000 with a market cap of $1 trillion, and the Ethereum Solana ratio to double in a full-blown bull market. I think Solana will definitely take back some market cap from Ethereum. So the price target for Solana in that case, in the conservative case, is $231 with a market cap of 100 billion. So not even reaching all-time highs. Now, if we go into a bull market where Bitcoin hits $180,000, which is very much possible, but up to you whether you think that's likely or how unlikely it is or how likely it is. Make that up in your own mind. But I think it could definitely happen in my personal opinion. And in that case, Ethereum would easily hit 0.1 of Bitcoin, which it has hit in the past. So that would put Ethereum at $18,000 per Ethereum. And in this scenario, I've taken the market cap of Solana to be 17% of the market cap of Ethereum. And that would give us a price target on Solana of our very famous $1,000 or $950. Close enough. Now, in the hyper bull scenario, let's just run through this. I don't think this is very likely, but if this did possibly happen, like for this to happen, I think we would kind of have to have a repeat of 2021 or a repeat of 2017, where particularly in 2021, where there's just massive printing and everyone was going crazy. If that happened again, I could see Bitcoin reaching 275,000, let's say, Ethereum reaching 40,000 per coin, and putting the Solana versus Ethereum market cap at 22%. So still not even a quarter of the Ethereum market cap. That would put one Solana at $2,800. So I don't think that's a very likely scenario whatsoever. I don't think, like, there is a possibility of it that we could get some crazy inflation again in the fact of monetary debasement, not inflation, but we could have crazy monetary inflation again, but I'd say that's like a 5% scenario. So using these figures, what is the expected base case scenario? So I've worked out the expected value for these 4 different scenarios. So I've put the prices of these assets remaining the same in the next Bitcoin cycle, and I put that at a probability of 5%. I don't think that's very likely that, these assets aren't going to go anywhere in the next bull cycle or in the next 2 years. But it's still a possibility, so we're giving it a 5% chance. Now, in the conservative scenario, I've put that at a 50% chance of that happening. So I think that's the most likely scenario of happening. And you can see on the right, the expected value of Sol with a 50% chance is $115. Now, that doesn't mean anything until we add up all the different amounts. But in the bull case scenario, I've given that a 30% weighting. And in your head, you can think, okay, that's way too high. That's even potentially too low. I think it's probably 30% chance of getting $180,000 Bitcoin. Yeah, I think that's fair enough. And the hyperbull case, I've given that a 5% weighting. Not very likely. Not very likely in my personal opinion, but could still happen. So when you add up the expected value of the price of Solana, so $1.40 plus $115 plus $286 plus $141, you get the expected value of $544 per Solana. And I think that's a very reasonable price target for Solana for the next bull cycle. That's what I think is the most likely kind of price target. About $500 for Solana in the next crypto cycle is my personal prediction. So I've been buying Solana hand over fist, and I'm really annoyed that Solana has exploded recently. I really want to get as much as possible of Solana under $20. So I'm just going to continually be stacking it around these for the next year or so. Hopefully it doesn't run too quick, too fast. But yeah, every opportunity that I have, I would be buying a lot of Solana. And eventually when crypto markets really start ripping, I will very much consider turning a good portion of my Tesla stock into Solana, and then in the next bull cycle turning that Solana back into Tesla stock to take profits. Alright, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. I hope you learned something, and let me know what are your price targets for Solana. Do you think these price targets are totally ridiculous, or do you think these targets are fair enough? Alright, thanks so much for watching. See ya.